Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the School of Commerce support session. My name is Somilantinge, and I'm from the marketing team. Joining me today is Serame Ramasojana, who is the head of School of Commerce. We have Mzwandile Masuku, who is our student recruitment supervisor. We also have Motlali Khomo, who is our senior program manager within the School of Commerce. And I would like to just welcome you guys and thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. If you see on the right hand side of your screen, we have a chat box. So this is where you can say hi, tell us where you're watching from. We see other people who have already interacted with us, the likes of Confidence. Confidence, you did not miss the 9 o'clock slot. We are here, we're live now. So welcome. And for everyone else, just pop us a hi, tell us where you're watching from. We would love to hear from you. We also have polls that are running. This will enable us to get information from you, whether you'd like us to contact you for our next intake, which is happening in March. So if you'd like us to contact you, please vote yes. And for those who are saying no, say no. You can vote no. And if you have any other questions, we also have an ask a question box at the bottom of the screen. You can pop in all your questions and we will answer them during our Q&A session. So from now on, I'm going to hand over to Mzwandile, who's going to talk to us regarding admissions and the process thereof. So over to you, Mzwa.
Thank you so much, Somila. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. We just want to take this time to say we fully appreciate, because we understand that you could have been obviously focusing on your busy schedules, but you gave us the time today. So I'm going to basically focus on the entire registration process as well as the admission process, and also just to give you an understanding exactly what it is that our students are facing when it comes to, the entire experience, when it comes to the entire registration process as well as the admission process. So before we proceed, I also want to state that we understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you are busy individuals. So we fully are aware that sometimes when our student advisors do try and contact you, maybe to assist you with your registration, it might be that maybe you're busy to take the call at that time. And then essentially we would like to request that look at your emails most of the time, because this is where we fully communicate. And of course, via email, we will then inform you what exactly we need in order to finalize your registration. So essentially, most of our students that we are currently talking to right now, it's people that haven't completed their registrations. So I say to you, worry not, because there's still an opportunity, obviously, with the next intake for you to be considered and be able to study with us here at Milpark Education. First things first, we inform our students to visit our website in order for them to be able to inform us what exactly they need to be assisted with. So in addition to that, you've got an opportunity that you will be speaking to our student acquisition advisor, and you're more than welcome to give us a call on 086 999 0001. And then of course, you'll be pressing option 1 for sales. And then the next available student advisor will be able to assist you. I also want to stress, ladies and gentlemen, that if you are currently having a student advisor, because chances are most of you are, because you might be an existing student with us, please continue speaking to the student advisor. If it's a case maybe where there's a delay, the student advisor should be able to advise you what is the delay and what exactly is going on. So moving forward, in terms of you going into our website, just to highlight the stages for you from stage 1 to stage 5. So initially stage 1 would mean that you already know what program you've applied for, you would like to apply for. And then of course, furthermore, you then provide us with all of the documents that we need from you, contributing the fee that you need to contribute. And then in addition to that, we stipulated that if it does happen, maybe you finding difficulty maybe with any of your documents, please inform us so that we know exactly and maybe we might even assist you in terms of you obtaining those documentation. And then essentially we move from stage 1 all the way to stage 5, knowing that the entire registration is going to be processed smoothly. I want to also stress, ladies and gentlemen, that on our side at Milpark, we try and perform a bit of urgency when it comes to us processing your registration. So on our side, the duration, it can last from 24 to 48 hours for us to process everything, provided, of course, that all the documentations are correct and all the modules are selected correctly as per the correct semester, of course. Moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, after you've went through our website, this is the page that you should be seeing. You will then be questioned in terms of whether you are a new student, a returning student, or even a continuing student. So if you're not sure what type of a student are you, you'll be able to see exactly what is the description of a new student, as well as a returning student and also the continuing student. So we make it easy for you so that you don't get lost when you visit our website, because it is user-friendly and you'll be able to see exactly what details are required. Under new students, you see that the students that are applying for the first time on a program with us at Milpark. Obviously, a returning student would be a current student applying for another different program. And then last more, it's continuing student, which is a current Milpark student continuing with their chosen program into the next semester or even the academic year. I also want to emphasize, ladies and gentlemen, that because of the Protection of Personal Information Act, your details are going to be safeguarded and we will ensure that nothing will be compromised. Now, the page that you're looking at right now, this is an online admission page. So basically, over here, you'll be able to see exactly that we need you to provide us with your ID number as well as the type of a course that you want to focus on. And then basically this page will allow you to go to the next pages. I also want to stress, ladies and gentlemen, that it doesn't stop with the identity document. If, for example, you are a foreign nation, you're more than welcome to also be assisted in a similar way. Okay, just to unpack the process that we deal with when it comes to your registration. Now, after you've provided us with your documentations, we know that most of our students are asking themselves, what happens in the background at Milpark for me to be finalized as a student and be able to register successfully? Now, I'm just going to take you through that entire process. After you've submitted us with your documentations, you're of course expecting feedback. So that's exactly what you're going to be getting. So the minute your documentations are sent to this student advisor of yours that is wonderfully helping you, you'll be able to know that from that time, the student advisor will then capture the information, take the information through for another processing. So this is now the processing department that is in charge to make sure that those documents are correct documents and they are correctly verified in every possible way to make sure that there is no delay in your application overall. Once that process is done, ladies and gentlemen, it then goes to the academic processing team. This is now the program managers team that my colleague Motlale Khomo will take you through in terms of that process. And this team is basically in charge to make sure that this qualification is exactly the right fit in terms of you meeting the correct requirements. And then, of course, once that stage is finalized, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be then finalized entirely. You will then receive communication to state that this is what you've registered for and be able to be assisted going forward. You will then be able to know that your documentations are going to be sent to the designated address and further communication will then be shared with you along. I also want to state, ladies and gentlemen, that amongst the details that we require, we do require you to have specific details. I also want to state that most of you are already existing with us at Milpark Education. So we actually have some of these details. If there's anything over and above that we need, maybe you are a new student, or maybe perhaps you need further details, maybe there's been certain changes. We will obviously inform you for you to provide us all of those details. Now, one of the things that we need as a main requirement is your ID, the copy of your ID, as well as your marriage certificate. If it does happen that you've changed your surname, your matric and other applicable qualifications, depending on which program you're obviously applying for, as well as the forms in terms of your admission, as well as your registration. If you are a foreign national student, you need to also provide us the copy of your passport. So these are some of the details that we obviously require. And I also want to stress, ladies and gentlemen, that do not panic. These documents do not have to be certified. You can just send us the actual copy of these documents, and we will definitely be able to assist you going forward. Okay. So lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to stress that on our side, the delay can happen in many, many ways, but I want to also encourage all of you that if you know that you haven't finalized your registration, please contact us so that we can assist you and also be able to finalize your registration. It's quite important, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to study, for you to follow up. Maybe, for example, you're missing a bursary letter from your employer, follow up with them so that you get those documentations as quick as possible. And also, I'd like to encourage that if it does happen that maybe you come across any point where you'd like to ask us a question, you're more than welcome to contact us on that 086 number 999 or you can direct that query to myself. I'm going to also post the email address on the chat box. It's mzwandile.masugu@milpark.ac.za. And of course, our website is www.milpark.ac.za. Email us as well on the student services email address, which is studentservices@milpark.co.za. Now, my colleague will also unpack more information in terms of the dates for you to know exactly what dates are there in terms of the closing dates for distance learning online and what are the benefits for that as you are a student who's going to embark on that. Okay, so from my side, I'd like to say thank you very much. It's great speaking to all of you, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Motlale Khomo, for her to proceed and take you to the next step. Motlale Khomo, over to you.
Thank you, Mzwandile. Thank you, everybody, for joining the session today. I'll be just taking you over a little bit of information of why does your admission or your registration becomes reworked, what is the meaning of rework, and I'll also just show you examples of what we require and then what sometimes the student submits, which is not what we need for a qualification. So I'll be taking you through all of that. Sorry for the wait. I just want to share my presentation.
No, can I help?
Please.
Okay.
Okay. No. May I just also indicate something to our students?
Okay.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to just highlight something in terms of what we've picked up as a common issue that most of our students were not aware of. If a student currently doesn't have a matric certificate, they only have a statement of results, and currently they do not have the matric certificates, they're still waiting, maybe they've applied for a new one, you're more than welcome to actually send us through the statement of results. Obviously, in that moment, it means you're still going to collect the actual document. All right. So you're more than welcome to send us that. You could also send us the statement of results for your qualification, your tertiary qualification, if you do not have the actual document. Okay, so we encourage that. Do not delay, because maybe you're waiting for that document. Those will never be formulated part of a rework. We will not say we're not going to allow you to the program because of those reasons. And then furthermore, I want to also stress that please ensure that later on you do provide us that document, okay? And also, one of the benefits that we also have for admission, we allowed our students that they could be admitted, provided that maybe you've already graduated from Milpark before, and this is your second program that you've taken with us. We can allow you to be considered into the program without paying the admission fee, obviously knowing that you will pay it later. So if at the moment you do not have the admission fee, we then allow you that you can be assisted further. Okay, that's what I wanted to highlight, but Motlale Khomo will take you further with the reworks. Thank you so much. Motlale Khomo, I think you're currently muted.
So sorry, I don't know what's up today. I'm sorry, I apologize about that. I was just saying that we're gonna go through the meaning of what is a reworked application, and then the reasons why your admissions are reworked or your registrations are reworked. And also, I'll be going through some of the examples that students send, the documents that they send that we consider, and the documents that students send that we don't consider. So I'll be showing you all of that so that you can know what's happening on our side. So you can move over. An application, when we're saying an application is reworked, it's either an admission or a registration that is put on hold because certain information is needed so that a change can be done on it. And this information might be required from the student side. Let's say that you have applied, but some document is missing, or maybe you have given us a tertiary qualification, but you didn't say that you also had matric, and that is not there. But when we check the tertiary qualification, we realize that this qualification on its own, it is not sufficient. But then we need also to check your matric results so that we can see where can we place you or what can we advise you on. So that's when we get to rework an application, and it goes back to an advisor who was assisting you. And then the advisor will be in contact with you. But let's say that you were not assisted by anybody from Milpark, it was just an online something. Then we refer it to the supervisor of sales, which is Mr. Muzwandile Masuku. And Mr. Muzwandile Masuku will allocate an advisor who can be able to contact you and then get the documents that we need from your side. So going forward, these are the reasons why admissions are reworked most of the time from our side. You might have applied for admission or qualification that you don't meet the requirements for, because remember that on the system you can load anything that you feel like you want to load, but on our side when we work on it, that's when we realize like, but no, this applicant selected a qualification that they are not suitable for, and then we rework on that reason. The other reason that we rework is when you have applied for admission using an incomplete external qualification. Let's say that you got another qualification from another institution. However, you didn't even complete it, but you just went ahead and applied for admission with it. We cannot consider you for admission in that regard. So we might come back and say, can you just give us your matric results or any other qualification that you have completed? If you give us those, we'll be able to work on your admission. And then sometimes you'll be applying for external qualification. You'll be applying for admission using your external qualification, and then the external qualification won't have the NQF level or the credits of the qualification. On our side, those are very important because the NQF level of the qualification help us to know that what qualification have you completed, which NQF level it was on, is it something that we need? And then the credits of the qualification, it also helps us because sometimes you might have completed an NQF level 5. But when we look at the credits of that NQF level 5 qualification that we have completed, we find that there are below 120 credits, of which from our side, when we want an NQF level 5 qualification for admission, we require it to be 120 credits or more. But if it's less, let's say that you have completed an NQF level 5 with 60 credits, we can't be able to take you. So if you have sent us a qualification and it just says it's a higher certificate and it doesn't say that which NQF level it was on, which credits does it have, then we're going to rework, because from our side, we can't do anything else. And then the last one is when you have applied for admission with your foreign qualifications, but however, you never touch base with SAQA and applied for SAQA equivalence on their side. So it means that you took the qualification that you have completed in a foreign country and just loaded it on Milpark side. So when we get it on our side, even if we could say that it's a degree in something, we can't interpret that, is it the original something from that institution, or the qualification that you say that you have completed, is it the truthful qualification? So it has to go via SAQA, and then they give you a SAQA equivalence, and only after then, that's when you can be able to apply for admission on our side. So those are the reasons why we rework admissions. And then, as I've said, that I'll also be going through some of the examples that students give to us. This is the first one where it is a matric certificate, and it does meet the requirements for an admission into a degree. And then from this, I just want to highlight the last part on the matric certificate, where it says that the candidate is awarded a national senior certificate and has met the minimum requirements for admission to a diploma or a higher certificate of study. That's something that you should all consider when applying for admission on our side, because most of the time it would say that you do qualify for a diploma, or you do qualify for a degree, or you do qualify for a national certificate. But what has happened on our side, students don't consider even looking at that. They just apply. So sometimes it becomes problematic on our side, because you would have applied, and then when you have applied with that, we won't be able to take you. So even like with this student, they have applied for a degree, but when we looked and checked the results, because remember that on the result, they have to reach a certain scale for us to be able to consider you. Let's say that you have applied for a BCom, you're supposed to have 4, meaning that 50% and above on 4 subjects that you have taken. And then your mathematics also, it has to be at a certain standard. Let's say that you have taken pure mathematics, it still has to be on a 4. But if you have taken mathematics literacy, then we need it to be on a 6, which is 70%. So if it happens that you have applied with that and it is not what we require, then it becomes problematic for us to be able to admit you. So this is one of the students that applied, but on their certificate it says that they qualify for a diploma or a higher certificate, not a degree. But then on their side, they've applied for a degree. So what we do is rework and say that, can the student be advised to consider a lower level qualification maybe? And then that's when the advisors will be coming back to you to say that this is the information that we got from the program managers, and based on the information, they want you to consider a lower level qualification, and they will give you our lower level qualifications, that these are our lower level qualifications. You can be able to apply for those. So yeah, those is one of the examples of an admission that does not meet the requirements. And then this one is often admission that the student did meet the requirements, because if you can just look even on the statement there, it would say that the student has met the requirements for admission into a bachelor degree. But however, remember that each and every institution, we have our own checkings on, does this student really qualify for a BCom, or does this student really qualify for a BBA? So with our side, for BCom qualifications, we need your mathematics or your mathematics literacy. While when it comes to the BBA, which is Bachelor of Business Administration, we don't need mathematics. We only we look at other qualifications. Even if you have passed your mathematics, not so good. It is not of much of a trains match, because we can also look at other subjects that you took from your matric. So with this one, the student does qualify for admission into a degree, because if you check their maths, they completed pure mathematics and then they got 52, and then which is level 4, and then 52 is what we require for that, for pure mathematics. But if, let's say, that the student had completed mathematics literacy, we would need the student to have completed this with level 6, and then which is 70% or above. So for this student, the student does qualify for admission into a BCom qualification, or even if they want to do a BBA, they can still do that and then be admitted on the BBA. And then also, I just took this example so that I can show you, when we say that a student who doesn't qualify for a BBA and for a BCom qualification, with the student, if you check their mathematics results, they got an E on standard grade. Is the old mathematics that we had, the national certificate. They got an E on standard grade. So for us to be able to consider, you'll say that you wanted to apply for BCom and then you got a standard grade E, we can't consider you for that, because for you to be able to be admitted into a BCom, we need you to have achieved standard grade D or higher for mathematics. So if you have mathematics literacy also, it was just gonna be high. But remember that in the previous time, we never had mathematics literacy. It's either you had mathematics, it was either alternate grade or high grade. And the other thing that should be considered also when you apply, make sure that you have 4 high grade subjects if you want to do a degree, because we find that some students, you have passed lovely and then you have applied for admission, but when we check your results letter or your matric certificate, it doesn't say that you have passed your matric certificate with an endorsement or an exemption. It's based on, because that 4 of your subjects were not on higher grade, meaning that maybe you have taken 2 subjects on higher grade and other 4 subjects on standard grade. So in that way, we cannot consider you. So what we'll do, we'll rework the admission back to the advisor or Mr. Mzwandile if it's an online one, and then we would request that can the student be advised to apply for USEF for mature age exemption, because remember that people who have completed this qualification is people for the 70s and 1980s. So it's old people, because as soon as you have reached 21 years, you can be able to apply for USEF mature age exemption. So that's when we'll rework it and say that, can you please advise the student to apply for USEF mature age exemption? The process from their side takes something like 3 months for it to be completed. So in that way, it means that you'll have to wait for them to be able to get the information from their side that were you granted the mature age exemption or you were not granted the mature age exemption. And then if you were granted the mature age exemption, you can still come back to us to say that you still want to continue and apply for admission. But if you didn't qualify for mature age exemption, we still have other lower level qualifications, higher certificate in management, advanced certificate in management, that you can consider applying for. Because as soon as you are completed with that qualification, you can be able to be admitted into a degree of your choice based on that qualification that we would have on our side, which is an NQF level 5 or an NQF level 6 qualification. So that's why we rework when it comes to your mathematics, if it ever happens that you wanted to be on a BCom qualification. And then again, this is another qualification, which is an NQF level 5, and I saw it as a good example that I can share with you, because when I worked on this, it made sense to me. Like, I didn't have to go back to the student and say that I need more information or all of that, because on it, if you can see, it says that how many credits were achieved, which is 121 credits that were achieved on the qualification. And it also gives you the national certificate short-term and then it's NQF level 5, as it says level 5 there. So it shows us the credit and the NQF level of the qualification. And then the student was admitted on short-term insurance. So it also gives us all of that. So in that way, it's easier for us to just admit the student without reworking the application. So that's why I took that, so that I can be able to share with you, so that you see what we require from your side. And then another challenge that I have came across is that some students would have applied for admission, and then when they load their transcripts or the certificate, if the NQF level is not there, and then you rework and say that, can you please go back to the institution that you were with, and then ask them for some sort of a letter to inform us of what qualification did you have. Some students don't do that. They tend to just say it verbally that it's an NQF level 5, and then it had above 120 credits. But from our side, it doesn't hold water. We need something on paper so that it can be factual. Even if we are being evaluated by a higher education, we can be able to say, this is what we got from the student from the institution that they were on. But if you don't provide that and it's only verbally, it makes things difficult on our side to be able to absorb you into the system. So yeah, for NQF level 5 qualification, we need all of that. So I hope it's a good example for you guys to see. And then let's say that you have completed an external qualification with another institution, and then it was completed. What we look for on our side so that we can see that you have completed, we just check the last part where they will say that, have you completed the qualification? And then when will it be officially awarded to you? So most of the time, a student will just go to an external institution, do a qualification, but don't complete it. And then with that, they believe that they can be somehow admitted into our qualification, but it doesn't work that way. The only time we consider your external qualification, even if it's incomplete, is when we look at external exemptions, meaning that if there are any other modules that you have completed with the external institution that are the same with us on our side, and then for that also there's an application that you have to apply. But if it's an incomplete qualification and you want to use it for an admission, we don't take that, because all the time we just want to look at this part where it says what qualification did you do and did you complete it or not. So if it's not complete, we're not going to consider that. It's going to be reworked and we're going to require maybe your matric, all other things. So that's why most of the time we put things on rework also, even if you have attempted a qualification with an external institution. And then also going forward, with your registration, we also rework quite a number of times. And based on that, as Mr. Mzwandile has said, that our turnaround time is 48 hours for any registration to be processed. It makes things difficult for us because now we have to rework, meaning that if we rework, we send it back to an advisor who has to contact you. And then I just want to show you what is the problem, what makes us to rework your registration. Most of the time, students would register other modules before registering for Induction to Business Studies or Business Numeracy. Induction to Business Studies and Business Numeracy, it's our foundational modules at Milpark, especially for the Bachelor of Business Administration or for the Bachelor of Commerce, because for the Induction of Business Studies, it helps you to know the theoretical part of a module. And then when it comes to business numeracy, it works on that mathematical part of it, because even if on BBA we say that, we don't consider your mathematics that much, there are still some modules on BBA that will require calculations, such as principles of accounting, principles of microeconomics, principles of microeconomics. So all of those, they're going to need you to have some level of understanding when it comes to calculations. But for the BCom qualifications, most of our modules they are calculative modules. So these two modules here, they will help you a lot. BNAM will just tackle the mathematical part, and then business numeracy will just help you to know how to deal with the theoretical aspect of a module. So all the time we say that when you get admitted, even the statement that would come on our side will say that yes, you've been admitted based on maybe completing an NQF level 5 qualification or based on your matric results. But we also include that induction to business numeracy and business numeracy is something that you have to start with. So it means that you can start with this and maybe couple it up with one or two modules on that qualification. But all the time, just make it a point that these are the two modules that when you start with us, you start with them. So sometimes students load third-year modules, second-year modules, without even considering loading that. So we'll rework and say, can the student be advised to register for these modules together with some modules before they can even register for anything? The second reason that we rework is when students have loaded incorrect modules on an incorrect mode of study. If you are on distance learning, your mode of study is distance learning. Distance learning is mostly about self-study. You study by yourself. Everything is online for you. But then we also have what we call distance learning online, which is much more interactive. Business learning online is much more interactive because it runs in about 8-week cycles. So each and everything that happens on it, you always have that backup assistant from the lecturer or the academic for that module. So with distance, let's say that you are a distance learning, and then however you have registered most modules on distance learning online, we're gonna come back because it's confusing us that this person is on DL. Why are they registering modules on DLO? So immediately we rework the registration in that way. Let me just say this and emphasize, the only 2 modules that most of the time we offer them on distance learning online is the Induction to Business Studies and Business Numeracy. They're only offered on DLO. But all other modules, if you're a DL student, you can be able to register them on DL. But however, in special cases, let's say that you really, really need a certain module for you to be able to do another module, and that module is on offer in the first cycle maybe of DLO, because DLO runs in cycle, we can say, okay, you can be able to register it then on DLO. But on special cases, it's not a fact of you just going ahead and just loading everything for yourself on DLO while you are on DL. So the other reason that makes us to rework registrations is when a student doesn't follow academic progression to register. Following academic progression to register, I also have an example of it. Like, I took a screenshot so that I can show you. Remember that as a first year student, you have first year modules that you have to complete. You have, as a second year student, you have second year modules that you have to complete. As a third year student, you have third year modules that you have to complete. But you would find that some students register some of first year modules and then move over and want to take some of second year modules and move over and want to take some of third year modules. We don't work like that. That is going to be confusing for you, us, and the system also. So what we require students to do is only focus, if you're a first year student, focus on first year modules. Unless if they're on your first day, you are only left with 1 module. And then now you're thinking that maybe I can be able to handle 2 from second year. Will be able to help you. You can be able to do that. But when it comes to third year, you can't. You have to have completed your first year and your second year. And maybe on your second year, you can be left with 3 or 2 modules. Then you can be able to take your third year. But mixing your first year and your third year modules, that is a complete no-no. So most of the time we rework because the system will give us an error. On your side, you'll be able to load. But when it comes to us, the system will give us an error to say, no, we can't. The student has not completed a first year module. So we'll have to rework it back to the advisor so that you can be informed. And then the other thing, we have modules, qualifications, not modules, qualifications that have a set timetable of informing you that how can you be able to register for that qualification. For instance, let's say that you are registering on distance learning online. There's a different way of registering on distance learning online. If a module we say that is on offer in cycle 1, that module is going to be on offer in cycle 1. If a module is on cycle 2, it will on offer on cycle 2. So sometimes students just want to load whatever, like they just look at the fact sheet and just want to load whatever that is there. But if a module is not on that cycle, you won't be able to register for it. While on DL, you can register for a module because modules sometimes run in 2 cycles. You should just in 2 semesters. So you should just know which module is on offer in 2 semesters and which module is not on offer. If you get any challenges and you're struggling, you're more than welcome to come to us and ask for advice. Like, guys, I'm getting confused. I'm not understanding which module am I supposed to take now. And then we'll be able to assist you. Som, you can move over. So this is an example of registering based on academic progression. As you can see, there is first year, So those are the modules that you can register for first year. Like for each and every fact sheet that we have for a qualification, a fact sheet is a document that shows us which modules are on offer on that qualification on first year, second year, and third year. So if you are a first year student, it means that your focus will only be here on first year. Your focus won't be on second year modules, they'll only be on first year. As soon as you have completed here or maybe left with one module, you can be able to focus on modules also on second year. So it means that you take them, if you are first year, on second year, on third year. You don't mix and match as you please, because we're going to rework it and it's not going to be nice at all. Your registration will just be pending and waiting for you to change the modules that you have taken. And then with the distance learning timetable, I just wanted to just make it a point of informing you that it runs in distance learning is very different than distance learning online. You can just go back to Mila. Distance learning online is very different from distance learning, as I've said. With distance learning online, the modules are on offer in cycles, né? And in a year, we have about 6 cycles in a year of distance learning online. And then on those 6 cycles, a module will run for 8 weeks. One module will run for 8 weeks. And then after that 8 weeks, we have an exam for it on distance learning online. So for each and every cycle in the 6 cycles, you have modules that will be on offer on each and every cycle, which is very different modules all the time. So you should just make it a point that you check your fact sheet if you're on distance learning online. You check your fact sheet and you also compare with your timetable so that you can be able to see that what is on offer and what is not on offer. What can I take on cycle 1? What can I take on cycle 2? And what can I take on cycle 3? The only thing that I didn't do is copy and paste it so that you can see what I'm talking about. And apologies about that. I just thought that I will just explain it to you. So if it doesn't make sense, I'll make it a point that I share it with you. I'll ask Somila to give me your emails and then share it with you so that you can see how does the DLO timetable look like. But only for the people who are on DLO. If you're on distance learning, you don't have to consider distance learning online because you are not on that path. Somila, you can just move over. And then the other timetable that we have is the higher certificate management timetable. And then with this, I put it here thinking that there will be some students who are doing their NQF level 5 qualifications. And one of the PMs who's dealing with higher certificate in management asked me to emphasize this and said that she's having a challenge and this causes her to have a lot of reworks because previously students can be able to register whatever module as they please, as long as the module didn't have a prerequisite, meaning that a module that it has to start with. So currently, since 2022, we have this timetable which shows on which semester can you be able to register modules. So for semester 1, you can be able to register modules that are there. And then for semester 2, you can be able to register modules that are there. Unless if there's a specific case, meaning that maybe you are on semester 1, but you are only left with one module from semester 2. Then you inform us way in advance before you can even load to say that, guys, this is the challenge that I'm facing. How can I go about it? On our side, we'll communicate about it, find a solution for you, and then inform. So from her side, she just asked like, no, can you please emphasize from my side that this timetable thing is just causing me a headache. So hence we put there because it's making her to rework a lot of applications on her side. That's about it. And then we'll be taking questions. Thank you, Samila.
You're welcome, Nono. Thank you very much. I'm gonna look at our ask a question box and see if we have any new questions. I see we have started answering some people. So I've got a question from Confidence, and she says, how do I know if my registration is finalized? My employer is the one paying the fees, and she has given us her student number. So I think Confidence, would it be best to say, and she can email you directly, Nono?
You can email me directly, or also with her She can just send the student number and then we'll check things.
Okay, the student number is already here on her question, so maybe you can just jot it down and find out for her. And Confidence, if you can also pop in your email address on the screen, will be much easier for us to be in contact with you. Okay, and then we have Talia. She says, please also guide on the process and timelines for CAT applications. Thanks. I think this is for CA Connect.
No.
Okay.
No. Can you mute some? Okay. She's referring to the credit accumulation transfer. If I'm correct, they normally call it CAT. It's external exemptions from the external institution that she has applied for. What would happen is that the student would have to load everything on the system. And then sometimes when that happens, when support pulls everything and send it to the relevant academic administrator to deal with it, it might take some time, and I know that is frustrating. But however, also on the academic administrator side, there's a process that they follow for these exemptions to be verified and to be approved. Meaning that, let's say that you have applied for 5 modules that you have done with the previous institution, then it means that the academic administrator will have to have all documents from your side. That is the first thing. All documents that are required from your side as per the application form, like the module outlines, the academic transcript of the qualification that you have completed. And then the module outlines, why do we need it? It helps us to know the module, the content that was touched on that module, because it might be the same module name, like the module that we offer, but when we check the content, it's not the same, the NQF level and the credits of that qualification. So all of that will be needed from your side first. After you have done all of that, the academic administrator will take the application, and then if you've applied for 5 different modules, they'll go to 5 different academics. Remember that before it was much more easier because you can just step into somebody's office and say, can you please do this for me? But now she has to email all 5 of them, and depending on when do they come back to her to say, yes, it is approved, the module that the student has completed is fine. That's only when she can be able to go into the system process and send the student their exemption letter. So it's taking some time, and I'm sorry about that, Confidence, but I'll just take your student number and also be able to check for you how far is it, what is happening, and then we'll be able to come back to you.
We also have Brighton. I think they have the similar problem as Confidence, and he has put down his student number. So if you can also take note of that so that we can be in contact with him and advise him further. I'm just looking through all the other questions. I think we have answered all of them. We've answered Confidence, we've answered Brighton, and yeah. So I don't see any other questions on the screen. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to just put.
There was a question. It just disappeared. Someone said he registered or she registered, but there's nothing on the portal. I'm not sure if that does.
Yes, they've given us their student number, so Nono's noting all those down, and then we'll be in contact with them. Cool. And I don't see us with any more questions on the screen. We have answered all our questions. And just a reminder to everyone who is joining us today, if you want us to be in contact with you for our next intake, please vote yes on our polls, and we'll be in contact and let you know how we can be of support and how you can get registered onto the next cycle. I don't see any more questions, and I think that was quite a mouthful, and I've certainly learned a thing or two. So thank you guys. Thank you, Sarami. Thank you, Mzwandile, and thank you very much, Nono. I think our students have also found this very informative. What I'm going to do is that for everyone that was invited in the session, we will send like a follow-up mailer to say, if you have missed the session, here's the link, then they can come through and watch this recording at their own time, so that they can get the information that was that they could not get because they could not attend while the session was live. So that's what we're going to do. And everyone who's joining us on the call, you'll also get a link to this recording, so that if you get stuck with anything, you can use that link to refer back to what we spoke about today. Sarame, I'm not sure if you have anything that you'd like to add before we close for the day.
I think nothing much, Somila. I just want to say thank you guys for attending, for taking time. Like you said, Somila, the recording will be available and then people can just get in touch. Makale Khomo is our senior program manager, and she's always available for you guys to answer your queries and your questions. And so please feel free to contact us at any given time. We are here for you. And yeah, let's see how it goes.
Before we go, Sarame, there's a question from Confidence. She says, once registered, will assignments be on the portal or just emailed to us?
Once you get registered, you will have access to the Moodle page. The Moodle page is the learning management system that we use at Milpark. You would have received your username and a password. You log in. And once you log in, all the modules that have been approved for registrations will appear on your dashboard, ACCP, INDBS, etc. So you must go for under each module and check those tabs. There will be an overview tab. That's where you get overview of the content, the outlines, the module outcomes, the lecturer, the study plan for that particular module, and the way to contact with us. So that is the overview tab. There will be another tab, which is topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, topic 4, topic 5, and topic 6. So in those tabs, make sure that you will open every single tab, because in those tabs, that's where you'll find your assignments. So for example, let's say you're on DLO. DLO has got 3 assignments, which are compulsory. By the way, if you don't do one of those assignments, you don't get entrance to the exam. Even if it's 10-mark assignment for DLO. So let's start with DLO. There are 3 assignments. Assignment 1, you'll find it under week 1. Assignment 2, you'll find it under week 3. Assignment 3, you'll find it under week 5. So it's 10-mark assignment for week 1, 20 marks for assignment 2, which is under week 3, and 50 marks assignment, which is under week 5. Okay. And then in week 2, there's online test. Week 4, there's another online test. And in week 6, another online test. And then in between, there'll also be participation and stuff. So every week, there will be an activity if you are on DLO. It works similarly to CL. If you think about it, you are in class, the lecturer asks you stuff, there's tests, class tests. On the DLO, we call it online test, participation marks. You get a scenario and the question will be, in your opinion, what do you think of this? Those participations don't have yes or no answer. There's no correct answer. There's no memorandum. We just challenge you to think, to test the knowledge of your reasoning or the capacity to reason given the circumstances. So that is DLO, and obviously there will be an exam. On DL, on the other side, DL, there will be one assignment, which will be in week, let me think, assignment will be in under a formative, there's a tab called Formative Assessments. Click that tab, you'll find your assignment there. What I'm trying to say is, guys, open everything that is there. You'll find videos, you'll find slides, you'll find information about the assessment guideline, which is the structure of your module. How many tests, how many online tests, or how many assignments. So you must open everything that is there, because that's the only way you get information. So please make sure once you get access to the Moodle page, go through everything, check slides, prepare in advance. Don't wait for a particular lecturer or class to happen before you can incorporate the content. So for me, that is the key. So the stuff is there. Once you access or you have access to Moodle page, your assignment will be there on the Moodle. We don't email your assignment. It will be there on Moodle. That's where you can download it and also upload it there. You don't have to email to anybody. You upload it there directly on Moodle. So that is very important. Sorry to take long, but I think I explain behind the scene and other stuff. Yeah, sorry.
No problem, Serame. I think our students appreciate that. And I've got a question from, I'm about to butcher this name. Please forgive me. It's Shipango She Titi. I'm Xhosa, guys, so I struggle with other names. So please forgive me. So he or she is asking, when do classes start? I registered, but I'm not sure when it reflects.
So the first question that we need to ask is, which mode? Is it DLO or DL? If it's DL, we have already started. She must just look at the timetable or the study plan. It shows that in week 1, you should have done topic this. You should have attempted this activity. Look at your study plan. But ideally speaking, I mean, no, you can jump in. I think we started at the 14th Feb, somewhere there, according to the study plan.
Yeah, it's the second week now.
Yeah, if it is a DLO, then you are looking for cycle 2, which starts on the 15th of March. And if that's the case, the course pages hasn't opened yet. We only open it a week before the course starts. So I'm not sure if it's a DL or DLO.
Can they just share their student number? Because I'm also suspecting that they started registering with INDBS and BNAM, and then maybe that is for the other intake that is coming up. So it won't show on their side. Because remember that with DLO staff, they only show a week before they start running. So can she just share, or he shares their student number, and then we'll check it for them and then send back the information?
Perfect, Nono. Thank you. I've also added that on the comment on his question. And then we've got Unkarabile, and Unkarabile is asking I want to ask if there's any bursary, because the module I want to do for second semester and it costs 6,000 Rand, and I was on learnership company, did not absorb us due to COVID. So I'm currently unemployed and would like to complete my module in order to graduate. I know there's a page on our website where it says bursaries. So if you can perhaps go click there and follow the instructions, and you can send the information using that email that is on the website to bursaries. They'll be able to assist you. Unless Serame and everyone, you know any other way, but that's how I know it.
So what I want is, let's get the student number, and Nono runs this project, and then we can take it from there. But we need to get her student number, because that's one of Nono's projects of getting this sort.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
but sorry, Samila. After all of that, after getting the student number, and the student still has to go online and apply. But first, I will just have to communicate with the quality assurance coordinator so that to check that if we still have any budget, and then only then I can be able to get back to the student and then inform of the application process route. So can they just send through their student number, as Sirame has said?
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nono. I think we have answered all our questions now, unless there's any more that people want to ask. So Confidence, please share your email address and your student number, and Nono will be able to assist you from there and find out if there's budget and where and how we can be of assistance. So if there are no questions, I'm going to end our session for this morning. And once again, thank you for everyone that has joined us on this session, and thank you to the School of Commerce. I see there's another question popping. Okay. So it's Shipango Chetete that has just added their student number. So if we can just take note of that and then be in contact with him or her. Can you see it, Nono?
I'm checking. Shamila, can you please take it for me? I see until Unkarabile, but I'm not seeing anything from the other students.
I'll pop it on the chat box.
Okay, it's complete. No, it's copy.
Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you. I feel like I've been saying this a lot. If you guys have any other questions, or you think of something after the end of this broadcast, please email Mzwandile or no. Can you pop in your email address on the chat box so that people are able to be in contact with you? So while Nono does that, as we close, I want to say thank you again for joining us, and we're definitely looking forward to partnering with you on your learning journey. So have a great weekend, enjoy your Saturday, and we look forward to hearing from you and assisting you in your learning journeys. So thank you very much, guys. Let's call it a day. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.